Hello everyone, this Saturday afternoon from Dublin, Ireland. I hope you're all keeping well, and thanks again for all the support on my videos. I really appreciate it, for the shares and likes and comments. Today I'm in Portmarnock in Dublin, Martello Tower behind me that I'll speak about a bit later on, and looking out there towards Ireland's Eye in the distance, and then back out towards the Velvet Strand in towards Portmarnock in that direction, which is pretty cloudy, is in Howth Head. So you can see all across Ireland's Eye, that direction there. Just make it out, and then in the mist, enveloped in the distance, a little bit of a rise, is Lambay Island. Hugely important, significant islands in Irish history. Somebody brave enough to take a swim today. Fair play. But again, thanks for all the support, the shares, the comments on my videos. I really appreciate them. And I want to start with some news from today. And the first story I want to talk about is the story regarding Gonzalo Lira, the United States citizen and journalist who died in a Ukrainian prison. He was detained in prison for over 8 months. He's suffered from torture, extortion when he was in prison, and had a lot of health problems over the last number of months. And very sad to report, from information coming from his father, it's been verified now through the official sources also as well. The US State Department actually mentioned that he passed away as well. But again, it is absolutely despicable. He was in prison for having an opinion. So much for freedom of expression. So much for having a dissenting voice. He was based in Kharkov, which is in the east of Ukraine. He was quite close to his family, young children he had there, that he obviously wanted to keep in close contact with. And he spoke out quite openly against NATO's proxy war, against a corrupt Zelensky regime, the neo-Nazis in Ukraine, and he was one of the strongest critics of that regime. One of the only voices that we've heard from in Ukraine, because of the Zelensky regime, which has cut down political opposition, media, banned churches, and so much money has been funneled there to make money for BlackRock, Biden's crime family, and the 1%, while ordinary people are suffering and dying because of the war. And Ireland, here in Ireland, they're supporting this too, the government, by providing weapons training. And we've seen the fallout of the migration crisis. But of course, the political class won't tell the truth about the genesis of this crisis, war in Ukraine. They won't talk about the Minsk agreements. They won't talk about the Istanbul peace agreements. They won't talk about the huge amounts of issues created because of this in terms of the migration disaster in Ireland. So many Ukrainians now live in Ireland, and has created huge issues in this country. But they won't tell the truth. They won't give the real facts to what went on. And it's important the truth gets out there, because people like Gonzalo Lira stood up for truth, didn't have any agenda. His only agenda was to have his opinion. And in any democracy, isn't that vital, to have an opinion, to have your voice heard, to have freedom of expression, which is a constitutional right, and which is also vitally important now more than ever, as we see the attacks in Ireland on Irish democracy in the context of the legislation that's currently in train, such as the hate speech legislation, facial recognition technology, and all the Digital Services Act. Not to mention the new commissioner coming in that I spoke about in my video yesterday about the new regulator for the new commission in Ireland that would take up across the spectrum of social media companies as well. So, as a US citizen, he was left to die in prison because he spoke out against the corrupt Zelensky regime. And his father sent countless emails, contacted a lot of social media channels regarding his issues, and he was ignored. And all it would have taken, as I spoke about in videos before, was one phone call by the US State Department from Joe Biden to get him released. Could have been deported and sent back to his family, his father, and got the necessary medical treatments, but no, it didn't happen. So these people should be held to account for what happened to Gonzalo Lira, what happens to people who speak out on what's going on in society, speak the truth. They should be supported, they should be stood with, and it's vitally important. We see that in the context of Julian Assange, who's languishing today in Belmarsh prison. Disgraceful, despicable, inhumane, barbaric, disgusting. But again, it's a sinister drive, as we see in society, to shut down free speech, shut down dissent, shut down your point of view, so you can go along with the government's narrative. And sure, their narrative's always right, isn't it? I don't know. You need to speak out, and that's really important that all of us keep speaking out and speaking the truth. So rest in peace, Gonzalo Lira, and thoughts and prayers with his family, his father and his family, his children as well today, for absolutely despicable, horrific, and really just words could nearly escape me. So if you're a US citizen watching this, please share this video. Please get the message out to what's going on, really, because the mainstream media won't report a lot of this stuff. They won't talk about it. They'll ignore it. And they move on to the next item. Nothing to see here. So, Ukraine. Yesterday, Rishi Sunak, I spoke about in my video as well, that £2.5 billion he gave to Zelensky. Well, there's huge disasters in England and Britain. Homeless, health, huge issues that could be better served by spending on the people of Britain rather than give over to the corrupt regime, while his country is supporting the bombing of Yemen. So there you have it. All they're interested in is keep the war going. More fronts they're opening up. More money for the military industrial complex. More money for the corrupt, rotten, disgusting elite. More money for them, for the 1%. And ordinary people are suffering against this inhumanity and barbarity. For what? For their hegemony, for their control. That's all they want. They're not interested in ordinary people. They're not interested in people's rights. They're not interested in anybody's right to express their opinion or to serve the needs of anybody in society. Why isn't that money spent to help solve the housing and homeless disaster and so many people dying in the streets? No. Like in Ireland, we have Leo Varadkar, who's going to swan off to Davos. After nearly a month they've been on holidays here, the politicians in Ireland have been nearly a month on holidays. Would you believe that? And they're due to go back next week. But of course, Leo Varadkar won't be there because he'll be heading to Davos. I'm sure Michael McGrath will probably be going with him to take his instructions of the World Economic Forum. Planning for the next pandemic, no doubt. There's a meeting on Disease X, which has been chaired by Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization. So I'm sure they're going to get more instructions from their unelected, psychopathic leaders at the top of society who will try and push the working class into line. That's all they work for. And the more people see it, the more people should wake up to all this and see who they really serve, rather than to serve the interests of ordinary people here in Ireland or in many countries across the world. So, point you out this direction, I'll show you a little bit of this area. You can have a look out. Lovely Ireland's Eye in the distance. Across the Irish Sea, and then we have Lambay Island, which is nearly completely covered in the mist. But I'll point you to this lovely Martello Tower. I'll show you a little bit about this place, which is very, very interesting. If people know the history of all the Martello Towers around Ireland, there's up to 29 Martello Towers, I think, still standing in Ireland. They were built between 1803 and 1808 under the National Defence Act. Well, at that time, obviously, we were being colonised. So they were fearful of Napoleon invading the shores of Ireland. So a lot of these were dotted along the coastline. A lot are still standing, as I said. This one in particular was built in 1804. And it was actually a residence, a summer residence for a US ambassador, Simpson, in over 100 years ago, actually about 100 years ago now, back in 1922, 1923. It was their residence, and now it's a residential home, so it's lovely. I think the conservatory at the top was added, I think, in the 50s. So beautiful Martello Tower, a lovely walk along here as well if people ever wanted to venture out this far and have a look around this beautiful part of the world as well. The Velvet Strand in the distance as well, which is a lovely place down in Portmarnock, which is in that direction there. Flight took off, I think it was the second east-west transatlantic flight took off from there in 1930, and that was about 10 or 15,000 people were along the Velvet Strand to cheer off that flight. That took place, and this would go all the way towards Malahide. Out that direction. Fortunately it's cloudy, but when the weather picks up and the weather gets better, I'll be out and I'll show you more nice places around Dublin as well. Beautiful part of our history and heritage in this part of the world. Meanwhile, today there were huge demonstrations in Dublin City, great demonstrations just earlier today. Thousands and thousands of people attended the march in solidarity with the people of Palestine and Gaza with the horrific genocide that's taken place there, with the demands to immediate ceasefire and demands for a political solution and demands for boycott of apartheid Israel, which was very well attended and a great show of support and solidarity with the people of Palestine. Similar happens around the world and a lot of parts around Ireland. There was marches in Derry, all the four corners of Ireland. There were marches in support as well. So in that distance is Lambay Island. Unfortunately we can't see it now because of the mist. But a huge history there as well in Lambay Island. So as dusk descends on Dublin, I'll show you out towards the sea. I'll take a stroll down a little bit further to show you a little bit closer to the beach, which is a lovely walk to take, and a few people braving the cold weather taking a swim, so fair play. Fair play. Really get in touch with nature today when they're going in. Down in that direction there. Just the mist coming in over Hout Head. That hotel used to be across there. I don't know if people might know that hotel. Sands Hotel, I think it was called at one point, and it was a nightclub there at one stage. Was it Tamangos, I think was the name of the nightclub, perhaps, in North Dublin. Tamangos. Where the gang go? That was the line. That was the line. I digress. Where the gang go? Tamangos. That was the line, I think. The ads used to be always on the radio. How about that place? I think it's called, it's Oasis now or something, I think the name is. There you go, have a look down Velvet Strand in the distance. It's a lovely, beautiful walk as well along there as well. So from Dublin, show you a little shot of Ireland's alright to finish beautiful part of Dublin. From Dublin today on this Saturday, take care, and again thanks for the support. Please like my Facebook page, YouTube channel, TikTok, X, and thanks everybody who supports me on buying me a coffee. I'm very grateful to everybody who has supported me on that platform and continues to support me. And if you liked it, the links will be there in the comments. So from Dublin and Portmarnock on a overcast day, but not as cold, thankfully. Take care, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye. Thanks for all your support. Mind yourselves.